All right, this will be Q&A video number 16. I got some questions from some new names that I've not seen before. The first one comes from BRaWNy. Wants to know, is glycogen depletion and protein synthesis a local or global response? And the answer is, it's a local response. This is why Train to Build Muscle, if you're not on steroids, is more about managing the stress your body is under than anything else. Your whole purpose for going to the gym is to trigger the local growth response and put the muscle into an anabolic state. The more hours per week that the muscle spends in an anabolic state, the greater potential growth you're going to experience. You don't need to worry about that when you're on steroids because you're always in an anabolic state. You can get away with training as infrequently as you want to. If you train a body part only once per week, like most people on steroids do, and you're not on steroids, all you're really doing is putting a muscle into an anabolic state for maybe say 24 hours per week. This means that for 144 hours per week, that muscle is not in an anabolic state. If you want to build muscle and you're not on steroids, you want to train as frequently as possible to trigger that local growth response without overworking your capacity to recover. This also explains why if you want to build a muscle, you need to train it directly. Sometimes you hear people say, you don't need to train your arms, just do compound movements. And then you look at them and their arms look like total fucking garbage. And the reason is because they take that advice. If you want to optimally stimulate the development of a muscle, you need to train it directly because it's a local response that you're going to be triggering. The next question comes from Danny Moore. He wants to know my opinion on changing it up every 2 to 3 weeks. Now, if you train to build muscle, you might not want to do that. If you have other reasons for why you're doing what you do, then maybe you want to change it, maybe you don't. But if you train to build muscle, here's how it works. You begin to impose a demand. The demand is perceived as potentially threatening by the body. The body's going to try to take the path of least resistance to lessen the demand from a relative standpoint for survival purposes. It has two options: become more neurologically efficient or build muscle, which is perceived as a stress in its own right. Only when the stress of building muscle is perceived to be less than the demand that you're imposing is the body going to choose that option. It's always going to choose to become more neurologically efficient. So what happens is you start doing something, you get better at it. Next time you could do either more weight or more reps or a combination of the two. It creates the illusion that you've built muscle. Otherwise, why would you get that much better that quickly? Then you get better and better and better until you don't get better anymore. You max out the neural adaptation. It's at that point in time that if you keep going, your body's forced to build muscle. But what most people do, they change what they're doing because they believe they've hit a plateau when really all you've done is maxed out the neural adaptation. So what you do is you change what you're doing, you're not very good at what you've changed to, and you get better and better and better until you're not anymore, and then you change it again. All you're really ever doing is challenging the neural adaptation. If you want to build muscle, you need to max out the neural adaptation and leave your body with no other choice but to build muscle. So my opinion on changing it every 2 to 3 weeks, I probably wouldn't if I wanted to build muscle. Now the next question is more of a rhetorical question and a compliment than anything. Eduardo Bravo said, "Why the fuck am I not famous?" He basically said, "I've never seen anybody put out the quality and quantity of content that you have as it relates to Train to Build Muscle. So how come nobody knows about you? Why the fuck are you not famous?" Now, I know you probably didn't actually want an answer to that, but I'm going to choose to answer that the same way Nate Diaz responded to Joe Rogan after his second fight with Conor McGregor. The reason I'm not famous? Most people can't handle a motherfucker like me. I'm too real for them. If you like the information, share it. Click the fucking button at the bottom of the screen you're looking at. Subscribe to the channel. Support me. I'm going to keep on bringing it.